Hi, I'm James McGuire, and on today's eSpeaks, we're talking about cloud computing and artificial intelligence, two very dynamic emerging technologies that are impacting each other in many ways. We'll talk about the relationship between cloud and AI and how companies can make the most of these powerful technologies. To discuss that, I'm joined by two major industry thought leaders. With me is Chris Niederman, Managing Director, Global Systems Integrators at Amazon Web Services. Chris, happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday. Good to see you, James.
Also with me is Chris Wegman, Global Technology Lead of the AWS Business Group at Accenture. Chris, thrilled to have you with us today.
James, it's awesome to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So let's talk about cloud and AI. In January, Accenture labeled 2023 as the year of cloud value, which I certainly wouldn't dispute that. And while cloud has continued its major growth, generative AI has really been the star of the show. It's dominated the conversation, creating huge interest among enterprise decision makers. Chris W., your thoughts on this? What's the balance between cloud and AI these days? What's going on here in late 2023?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't do AI without cloud, right? That's a fundamental situation that we have. So it's going to be bound together, now and going forward. You mentioned the comment that we said it was the year of value. I've seen that continue, right? And for a couple of reasons. One, customers are always trying to drive value, and no matter what's going on in the economy and the macroeconomic situation that's going on, being able to drive more value, being able to take that value and invest it back in your business. And with generative AI, bursting onto the scene this year, that value is being pulled and being invested in Gen AI, right? There's just no doubt about it. And I think also AI overall, right? Not just Gen AI, right? I think we've seen this resurgence of AI or interest in AI and the importance of what that's going to do, and then obviously leading to the generative AI. So value definitely is still key for our customers, but where they're putting that money has changed, I think, over the last year.
I think that one thought you made is not always understood by everyone, the fact that we really don't have AI without cloud to support it. I mean, because AI gets all the headlines and we think about some of the buzzy consumer applications, but in fact, without a huge, robust computing platform enabled by cloud, AI doesn't go too far. Chris, what would you add about that? Where are we in the generative AI maturity model's growth?
Yeah, sure. So the other Chris Wegman and I have talked a lot about how there's a lot of cost cutting that is the initial part of the conversation. And I don't think that's been for the last decade that I've been at Amazon. And I don't think that's changed. I think that it starts with cost cutting, but our experience is that customer conversations quickly turn to how we can help them innovate and transform their businesses at an accelerated pace. And as such, we're seeing the next wave of widespread ML adoption with the opportunity for every customer experience and application to be reinvented with generative AI. And so AWS is making it super easy and practical and secure and cost effective for customers of all sizes and developers of all skill levels to use generative AI in their businesses across all three of the layers, the ML stack, including infrastructure and ML tools and purpose-built AI services. And what a lot of people don't know or have forgotten is that Amazon's invested heavily in the development and deployment of AI and machine learning for decades, for more than 25 years. And so for both customer-facing services and internal operations, from things like the recommendation engine that personalizes the shopping experience on Amazon.com to the AI-powered robots that optimize order fulfillment in our warehouses. So, there's a lot to this as generative AI maturity models continue to evolve.
I think it's also a thought that people don't realize that AI is not actually new at all. That ChatGPT came in the scene in November 2022, and everyone realized, oh, there's this thing called AI. It's going to change our world. It's really not new. As you say, AWS has been investing in it a long time. Let's talk about real-world experiences. Can the two of you provide a real-world experience of how companies can boost their enterprise readiness for new and evolving technologies like today's cloud solutions or generative AI? Chris, what do you see here?
I really think it's industry focused. At least that's the way that I'm working with my teams and internally talking to and to customers. Based upon customer feedback and observations, we're investing in developing an industry specialized generative AI practices and solutions. And that enables our customers, and we always start with the customer and work backwards, but it enables our customers and AWS teams know who to proactively engage for specific use cases and capabilities. And so it starts with the industry, and then the use cases in those industries, and then how do we have the capabilities to actually help our customers achieve the outcomes that they want. And so generative AI powered solutions have implications in every industry: healthcare, manufacturing, financial services, media and entertainment, countless more applications to support speed to market, error reduction, and cost savings. So some specific examples of industry applications of generative AI we're seeing. I'll start with advertising and marketing. It's blog writing, advertising copy creation, stock image generation, email market content creation. Healthcare life sciences is a passion of mine. So in particular there, we're seeing medical note-taking and virtual assistant solutions for doctors. We had a great release back in April with 3M and AWS with a partnership where 3M's using AWS machine learning and generative AI services like Bedrock, Amazon Comprehend Medical, and Amazon Transcribe Medical to really help with 3M's ambient clinical documentation and their virtual assistant solutions, which essentially transforms the patient-physician experience, placing the focus back on the patient where it should be and reducing administrative burden for physicians. And I can go on and on. There's financial services with personalized conversational agents and synthetic data generation for fraud modeling. And as Chris Swegman knows, I can talk for hours, so I'll pause there. But we can talk about in depth on examples in every imaginable industry.
Just one follow-up, Chris, and that I think and it sounds like you would push back on those people who say, "Oh, generative AI is really cool, but it's really not ready for prime time." From what you're saying, or AI in general, it's not only ready for prime time; it's actually used in the field.
It is interesting. I hear that quite often. It's like, okay, so it's not ready for prime time, and then I go, well, it really is. Well, it's not actually in use today. It's going to be, in the fullness of time. I go, no, we have numerous examples where it is absolutely in use today with a number of customers, real world experiences, and we're continuing to evolve that, but it's far more than I think people realize.
Chris W., your sense, far more than people realize, what real world experiences would you point to?
Yeah, James, you're going to realize when you get Chris and me together, we're gonna go on for hours on this topic.
These are complicated topics. So it's putting it in a nutshell is difficult.
They are, and Chris Newman, I think about you talking about this. It reminds me of the early days of cloud when you and I were together, 10, 15 years ago, and this industry starting to come up. It's not ready for prime time. Cloud's never going to be ready for prime time, and we show, use case after use case where our customers were already using it. And it took a while, right? It took a while for other customers and other industries to realize that it is real and it is ready for prime time. So, I could not agree with Chris Neerman more, specifically around the industry focus. Definitely the industry use cases are different. They're gonna, they're meaningful. They are in production today, whether it be, taking letters that come in and synthesizing them and helping the people that need to respond to those letters, right, and help them build that or find the letters that need the fastest response, over other ones. We have customers that get still thousands and thousands of letters a day from people that aren't used to having going online or sending doing a chat or something like that. But what I'm seeing is, if I take a step back and look at every one of our customers, there's two areas that I see that all of them are really going deep in AI and generative AI. And one, that is in software development, right? Almost every one of our customers has some type of development organizations, and they've got engineers writing code. They're trying to do that faster with less errors, less problems. One, to get generative AI solutions out there, but just in their day-to-day business as new pressures come to transform. So we definitely we're seeing customers get a lot of power and a lot of leverage out of CodeWhisperer from AWS, right, to help with the software development, be that second set of eyes, what we call peer programming, right, having that two sets of eyes on that code they're developing at any given time, and that's helping obviously generate the code faster, better quality, right, better productivity. And what we're seeing in that better productivity from the more senior developers, right, who are the people you want, right, really being very effective in their work, right, because they've got the experience, they know the applications, they're just better at what they do and faster. So that's great. The other thing is just pure defects and looking for things like security flaws and stuff like that they introduce, right. CodeWhisperer is helping them, avoid that, and which is taking time out, deeper into the, code supply chain, so to speak. The second area, and Chris mentioned on it, almost all of our customers are all customers. Some have some type of customer interaction, right? Whether it's internal customers, right, from a help desk or HR or something like that, to external customers, right, and whether that's B2B or B2C type customers. And generative AI and making better chatbots is what I call it, right? Because everyone's got some type of chatbot. Having a customer service rep be able to have the next best action, have that call synthesized for them. A lot of times if I'm a call center agent, right, I'm typing as fast as I can type to look up what I think the answer is. And because of generative AI, because of AI, right, that's now being searched and given to me much faster on my screen, giving me the response. Right now, as a CSR, I've got to decide whether or not that's the right response. So those are the two use cases we're seeing almost every customer starting with in their generative AI journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
And
go
James,
ahead,
if I can
please.
just add to what Chris, you made me think of a couple things. Like we've been at this a long time, and I'm going to steal something from Andy Jassy. Andy, but from the first day I joined in 2014, he'd say there's no compression algorithm for experience. And I was thinking
Mm.
about
Mm-hmm.
what, we've been at this for decades, AI and ML, Amazon has. We've been at this for the last 10 years with Accenture, with the Accenture AWS business group. And that just you just can't turn the ship and build that overnight. So everything that we're delivering today, you think about the Velocity platform that Accenture and AWS announced last year at reInvent, that's the culmination of the last decade and longer of work that actually helps us deliver solutions faster than ever before. And you just can't do that overnight. Again, no compression algorithm for experience.
Mm-hmm. One follow up about the software development piece. I think it's Chris W. said this. You talked about the development. Are you seeing AI with the no code, low code software development programs? What do you see in that world, or not much necessarily yet?
No, both. I mean, even with no code, low code, right? You still have to, take your inputs and bring it together. Like take the requirements from the customer, and get them into some type of format so you can do no code, low code development. And that's one thing we're seeing. For an example, we do a lot of SAP configuration, right, for our customers, right? So how do you do that? How do you go and pre-populate those documents that do that configuration, right? With generative AI, right? So pulling that data, pulling the requirements, picking the right configuration flags to set, right? That's huge. It takes a lot of people's time. And there's a lot of cross-checking and that can be eliminated. So yeah, we're seeing it there as well as what I would call traditional code development. One thing I'm seeing is it's where we're seeing our enterprise customers get the most value isn't generating from scratch, right?
Mm.
Or having it, hey, let me, go create a new homepage for me or whatever it might be. But it's truly helping them, support the code they have today or add new features to that code, which is where I think I'm a huge fan of Code Whisper because I've seen it in my development team. We use it in our platform, the Velocity platform that Chris talked about. We've used it quite extensively in that, and I just see the productivity improvement and the quality improvement that our developers have gotten by using it.
Interesting. All right, well, we've talked about this a little bit, but let's drill down into this a bit. How are companies like AWS and Accenture addressing today's emerging tech like cloud and generative AI? Chris W., additional details on this?
Yeah, so together is the key to me is the key start to that question. Chris talked about 14, 15 plus years of partnership. We were one of the first users of S3. Accenture was, storing of all things, receipts for for our time reports. That was an early use of S3, and now I look at that how that's evolved, right? The analysis that goes on that unstructured data, right? On that just internally for us. So, first and foremost, together, we bring together, as you talked about, that industry experience. We've, both developed these incubation groups to help customers take these use cases. And what I find is there's no limitation on the number of innovative use cases customers can come up with. But what we're finding is very quickly those use cases need to be looked at and value needs to be found in them, right? And the only way to find that value is to very quickly analyze them and start testing them. And I think we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of customers started, developing these, these different use cases and testing and stuff like that. And now we're starting to see the ones that truly are driving value, starting to show up in production, right? And the ones that weren't going to drive value, okay, maybe generative AI wasn't the answer to that problem that I have as a customer. Those are starting to fall out. So together we're taking this industry focus we talked about together, where we have this incubation team that is taking those, using Bedrock, using Titan, using the models that we can get access to, using the Amazon chips, right, to do those trainings of that model and so on. So we've been very close in that regard as well, and together working with our clients, and trying to make sure that they're putting their focus in the right places. So that's been a big focus over ours the last, since we started, but especially in Gen AI over the last several months.
Mm-hmm. Kristen, what would you add here? What's important to know?
Sure. I think I just want to continue off of Chris W.'s point about value creation. I think with respect to value creation that Chris mentioned, I think it is all about value creation for our customers. And I think back to a paper that McKinsey published a year ago, really great research that estimated that the total EBITDA opportunity from cloud for the Forbes Global 2000, our customers, is estimated at $3 trillion by 2030. That's value that we can work together to help them unlock. Mm-hmm. And I think it's critical that we kind of shift it to the customer, that help them understand there's a ton of value. Now let's figure out and dive deep. Like you said, James, how do we dive deep to actually help them unlock that? And it is absolutely in the details. So at AWS, we want to make every company an AI company. And there are 4 components to our approach to help customers leverage the full potential of generative AI applications to unlock that value. We know, first and foremost, model choice is paramount. There's no one model that will rule them all. It's about choosing the right model for the right use case. Then the ability for customers to securely customize these models with their own data is key. And next, easy-to-use tools are critical for democratizing generative AI within a customer's organization and increasing employee productivity. That's super important about increasing the employee productivity. There's stats out there that say that it could impact 40% of the hours our employees work. And so if it's on the mind of our customers that they have to figure out how to get the most efficiency out of their employees, we can absolutely do that here. And then underpinning all of this is the need to deliver responses that are low cost and low latency, which is absolutely made possible with purpose-built ML infrastructure.
Yeah, the question I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, Chris, you make a good point. And I think that stats from the Department of Labor, which I think is interesting, because it's not us coming up with a stat or you coming up with a stat. It is the government looking at what the impact of generative AI could be on the labor market. But I also think about, look at the number of conversations that we've had, well over 600 conversations with CEOs and boards around the impact, right, of what this stuff can do. So it's not just, it's just not the CIOs and the CTOs and those having this conversation. It's not a technology conversation, right? This is a board level conversation. And no matter what size company you are or what the board structure is, I mean, this is the conversation that's happening there. And there is, I think we all believe that, this is a once in a generation, transformation that's going on. And, I reflect and I think about, we talk about all the great stuff that has to happen, can happen with AI and generative AI, but it's all going to come down to the core systems that our customers have, right? What we call the digital core, right? And I think we're seeing more and more as customers start going through this journey, they start having to look at their data. Is their data ready to support this, right? Yeah, I can use ChatGPT or I can use, whatever to get generic kind of answers to stuff. But if I truly wanted to have my data, I've got to put my data into those models, right? And using Bedrock and others. So, that's probably something that most of our customers are spending more time thinking about now.
Mm-hmm. I want to circle back to something that Chris N said. You're talking about models, and I hear so much about large language models and companies grappling with how are we supposed to approach this? I mean, do we need to build our own? Do we need a fully proprietary one? Can we rent one off the shelf? It's the big distinguishing characteristic, Chris, any advice you might give to companies about handling the issue of large language models? You
Yeah,
did give some.
I absolutely think like I said, the right model for the right use case is absolutely critical. And as Chris W. said, it's really their data. And so regardless of the model you choose, and we can absolutely help them with the right model, using their own data is absolutely essential. And making sure that that data is secure to their environments and it's not, not open for others. And so I think that, owning their own data, using their own data is absolutely essential.
Mm-hmm.
Chris,
All right, let's talk.
I'll end on
Right.
the models,
Yeah.
right? I'm with you, right? I'm a firm believer that it's not going to be a single model for our customers, right? There's going to be multiple models. There's going to be industry specific models. Some of those models are going to be quote unquote off the shelf or come with the solution that they're built into. Other ones you're going to build yourself, right? And you're going to, like you said, none of them. I don't think anyone's going to use them just completely generic. Like they're going to have to put their data into them, or they are putting their data into them to get the right value out of them. And I think again I like Bedrock a lot because of that, right? Because it gives you that choice of those models you can use and takes a lot of that heavy lifting away from the training, which most of our customers are going to do, right? I mean, there's going to be, they're gonna want that full environment to build the stuff versus having to stitch it all together themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about what is the bottom line here. What are your top takeaways for clients to close the year 2023? In particular, how do you see today's core technologies like cloud and AI evolving in the years to come? Chris W., your forecast?
Yeah, I think between now and the end of the year, it's about customers getting and clients and companies getting generative AI models into production, right? Getting the use cases that they've been testing and getting those into production and starting to show the value of them, right? I think starting to show, we didn't touch on responsible AI around this, right? Making sure that those responsible AI guardrails are in place for their companies, right? Because they're starting to see this stuff go into production, and they've got to make sure, they can trace back the algorithms, truly, show how the answers are coming about. But it's one, getting those into production. If we think further, right, we're early on. Like I think we always talk about, we're in, I'm a baseball guy. It's the playoff season. We're in maybe inning one, maybe inning two.
Right.
I think in cloud computing, we're probably only in inning three, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
it's still a very early game, so to speak. And, I think cost is going to become important, right? The cost of training these models. We all know that it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of power, it takes a lot of water to generate these models. So I think that's going to become very important to our customers as they try to drive more value out of this. They're going to look for the best cost performance indicators on this stuff. I think we're going to continue to see massive innovation, right? We're going to continue to see, everyone is investing heavily in this market, and I think you're going to see new innovations that are going to make it cheaper, make it faster, and be able to help our customers get these use cases to market faster.
Chris, and a key takeaway and most important, where are we going? What's the future here?
Sure. And as we're talking about this, one thing came to mind for me, and we have our leadership principles, Amazon does, and one of them just struck out to me as we're talking through this, which is success and scale bring broad responsibility. And I think that when you think about artificial intelligence and applied through machine learning, it's going to be it is or will be one of the most transformational technologies of our generation, tackling some of humanity's most challenging problems and augmenting human performance and maximizing productivity. So there's a bigger picture here as we look to the future. And I think responsible use of these technologies is key to fostering continued innovation, which is absolutely what our customers are asking us for, is continued innovation. AWS is committed to developing fair and accurate AI and ML services and providing customers with those tools and guidance needed to build AI and ML applications responsibly. And I think that, again, we owe that to the world's success and scale and broad responsibility, especially with the decades of our experience and what we've developed to date. And AWS is focused on democratizing ML and making it accessible to anyone who wants it, anybody who wants to use it. And currently we have over 100,000 AWS customers leveraging our ML solutions. So together with the AWS partner community, we're now taking the same approach with generative AI.
Mm-hmm. The two of you, I've got to thank you for sharing your expertise today. A lot of good stuff, and I learned a ton. Please come back and talk with us again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks, James.
Thanks, James. Anytime.
Thanks, Chris.
Good seeing you, Chris.
You too.